Now, staying with the coronavirus story, the global travel industry is one of the sectors severely affected by the rapid spread of COVID-19, with major airlines across the globe suspending certain routes to certain parts of Asia and tourists postponing trips. The International Transport Association has warned that it could cost the global airline industry close to $29 billion by the end of it. Now, to talk about the local impact on the tourism industry, I'm joined by the Flight Centre Travel Group's Kim Taylor. Kim, thank you so much for joining us this morning. It is a busy time for your company this weekend. You've got your big annual sale, the Travel Expo, going on. And some would say your timing couldn't have been worse, or perhaps a good time to have some face-to-face time with potential travellers who are thinking about where they could travel during this difficult time with coronavirus. What are you seeing in terms of those coming to your stores to book trips? Is the coronavirus top of mind?
So, absolutely, I think it's on top of everyone's mind. But this weekend, one thing for sure, South African travellers are resilient. They want to travel. Domestic travel has flown off the shelves this weekend. Cape Town has taken #1 spot as a destination that local travellers want to go to. And then we also have Mauritius and Thailand that have been trending in our space. So it just shows that people definitely want to travel. I think as a travel company, we have a responsibility to always, be at the forefront of giving our customers factual information, and we take great guidance from reputable organisations such as the World Health Organization and the NICD. So we have that responsibility, but customers definitely want to travel. Our stores have been buzzing this week, and it's been great to see, but we've definitely seen a surge in domestic interest.
Now, as somebody who loves to travel, as we watched the news of the coronavirus filter through, you could almost map how it is spread according to major travel nodes, and many of them connected to Asia. How difficult is it for a business that really is at the core of something like this? As soon as people started traveling, you could see certain cases were being picked up in certain travel hotspots around the world. How difficult is it then to keep an eye on that as you're seeing major airlines cancelling flights? Because information being given to your clients is one thing, but information to your staff is also just as important. It must have been very difficult to try and map which way forward.
So I think, it's a very fluid situation. I think it definitely does mean you need to be on top of all communication, both from a supplier point of view, and then, like I said, from a reputable or reliable source such as the World Health Organization or the NICD. It is certainly being on top of it, making sure that communication is not just communicated internally, but also to our external stakeholders, which are our customers, and just updating that daily, taking direction from suppliers. So suppliers are really being great at, identifying routes where, especially China, so a lot of flights have been suspended into China for certainly up to the end of April, and just making sure that we're on top of that and making sure our internal stakeholders as well as our external stakeholders are updated at all times.
And now, some of the major stories around the coronavirus centered around big cruise ships that were stuck in places like Yokohama in Japan. Some were even South Africans who were on board there and eventually were allowed to make their way home after much testing and quarantining. One of your major businesses is cruise ships as well. Have you had some people a little bit fearful of making a booking, perhaps that they've been planning towards for so much time after seeing that news play out?
So yes, certainly it's the minority. I just want to put that out there. Minority of customers just asking questions. Like I said, the situation is very fluid. So if someone wanting to do a booking for August, we don't know how this is all going to play out. So there have been questions. But again, this weekend, massive interest in bucket list cruise destinations, which has been quite interesting to see. Northern Lights has been very popular. So people are booking cruises. And I think, again, I'd like to drive home the point. Something that's been very, very clear is that South African travellers are very resilient and they want to travel.
Is there a feeling that this needs to just be waited out, and that at some point the medical experts in the various hotspots will put a lid on this, and that planning for travel can go ahead as per normal, perhaps in the next quarter or the quarter after that?
Certainly what we've seen is a lot of customers have adopted a wait-and-see approach. Obviously, they don't want to pay penalties to cancel. So where a supplier doesn't have a specific reaccommodation policy in place at the moment and customers voluntarily want to cancel, they will incur a charge at this stage. So I think to be reasonable, it is adopt a wait and see. You know, certainly for time frames such as June, July, August, we don't know what the situation will be, and I think the situation is still very fluid. I don't know how it's going to pan out. I think none of us do. It's just taking the guidance from where it comes, and a majority of our customers have definitely said, we'll wait and see what happens and then make those decisions.
And perhaps keep themselves flexible. Of course, many would say that perhaps this will be a boost for some local travel. Is that what you're seeing as
That's
well?
what we've seen this weekend with our annual travel expo. Like I said, domestic travel is just flown off the shelves. Cape Town being a popular destination, Johannesburg coming in second, and then Durban. Yes.
Yeah, that's an okay second.
Yes.
We'll take that, won't we?
We will.
Thank you so much. Let's leave it there. Kim Taylor is with Flight Centre's travel group, bringing us the very latest on where South Africans are at in terms of their thinking for travel holidays, if not in the short term, but definitely in the long term.